We're here at Brougham Street in Eltham. We've got a gathering of our community. It's been an interesting process because this community's come into formation over the COVID times. And so a lot of the formation's been happening online, and it feels great to be here with people in real life, surrounded by these trees and standing on this land near the Diamond Creek. Benny's been working on this for a few years now, and he and I started talking about this about 12 months ago. We had a really clear vision of what it was that we were trying to create here, and that was to build a community with some members of our own community, people that we love, and also with members from outside where we could live together in a way that was intergenerational. So my parents are involved in the project. Benny's mum's going to be involved in the project. And where we're able to build using the principles of co-housing.
Co-housing's been on my radar for some years. I'm an introvert, tend to live alone, and I like to have my own personal space. But when it comes time to actually go and meet people and hang out, I have to organise it. I have to come and organise to meet someone on, say, like a Friday night or something. And come Friday, I may not actually feel like hanging out with that person. Might just want to be at home. So the beauty of this is that it means I can have my own personal little space, and then just know that there's people all around me who love me and want to see me as soon as I poke my head out. So the dynamics of village living is something I feel like we've lost. And I feel like it's something, it's part of our nature to live in groups, and we're missing out on that. And I think kids are missing out on that. I think that elders are missing out on that, and introverts are missing out on that. Yeah, so that's been the vision. Number one is to just create a place where people can feel supported together. We're basing this on the Danish model of co-housing, which when I read the book by Charles Durrett on that, it sort of gave me this clear pathway forward to create a community that was based on some really great principles and design that understand community and interpersonal dynamics, rather than trying to be a deep spiritual or politically driven eco-village. Or there's a lot of beautiful eco-villages, but this is in some ways a more simpler model.
It's practical, and it's not about ideology.
That's right. Yeah, there's no ideology. It's a sense of how can we live in harmony with each other with the least amount of rules, but still acknowledging that there needs to be some rules and some procedures. And one of the best rules to point towards is a very large space which is actually bigger than what we had originally conceived for a shared common space, with a kitchen in it already, because this was a business. This was a cafeteria. It's currently a gift shop, and that will be the space where we, at least 4 nights a week, you can expect to come and just get fed. But when we're talking about that balance between rules and just and not having too many strong intentions, one of the core rules we want to have is that people are willing to cook for the group. So people, but the beauty of that is that there's probably going to be about 50 humans living on this site, and they're going to have to do that maybe once a month. You just learn how to cook in bulk, and it's not that hard. It's a little bit of adapting to do there. But yeah, so that's about like having just a basic amount of commitment to what makes the community tick. And so if we're eating together, we're going to have that bonding that happens regularly by coming together over food.
Yeah, one of the insights from the Danish model is that eating together is the critical factor for the community cohesion. What they found experimenting with this in the US and in Europe and then in the US was that there was sort of a right size of people, like more than about 25 people and less than kind of like 55 people. I think the sweet spot was about 40 adults or something like that. Is that right? And that eating together was kind of the glue. That was the critical thing that allowed the community cohesion to allow the relationships to kind of grow and be healthy, and to provide enough closeness for the community, and also to provide enough space for the community. And so it's one of the critical things, and it's sort of balanced as well by the fact that everybody does have their own private dwelling as well. They got their private home. And so for those times when you feel like being private, which for me is a lot of the time, you know, I've got my own space. My children have got their own space, and yet we're surrounded by this beautiful common house and this beautiful public grounds around here, where we can be together. Yeah. So the community value, I think, is a key one. Eco values is another key one as well. I think we're aiming for sort of 7+ neighbours rating, high 7s. So, having really eco-friendly houses is a big part of what we're trying to build here. We've also got land down the bottom of the property here where we're going to be able to grow food, grow vegetables. There's also some land that we believe we're probably going to be able to plant some fruit trees and get an orchard going over the back fence as well. So what other values? One of the values that I think is important to me is around governance. We're still working this out, but really wanting to have principles of self-management as part of the community here. I don't want to have too much rules. The word that I find fitting for the vision that we have in terms of community governance is agreements. And I see keeping that to a core set of agreements, having an ongoing conversation about what are the agreements that we have to one another. And also for those agreements to change over time, and I can imagine that there are agreements that we're working on one year, and then that just becomes included in the culture. And then those agreements can just sort of fall into the culture, into the background, and there's probably new agreements that come online each year. And just having an ongoing conversation about that, and really trying to make people feel empowered to make decisions in the interests of everyone, using principles of self-management to foster feeling of autonomy and responsibility and custodianship for the community that we're trying to build here.
We're not looking for people who have a deep ideology about how to live together. We want to see people who can come along and be really accepting at the same time of lots of walks of life. We want to have families. We have elders. We're very open to having more elders. I'd love to see. I know there's a vast proportion of the people who've already joined have had some kind of involvement in community engagement already. So we're interested to hear what people have done already. I mean, it's an interesting thing, because I think this way of living the book on co-housing by Charles Durrett, it goes over about 50 case studies, but some of them are just people who are just completely thrown together. They're kind of, there's randomness to rather than curation in their communities. But it works anyway. So, I think it's a good model. But we are actually looking to curate something which is pretty special. So we've got a lot of amazing people here, and we're seeking more.
So we have a selection process that is coming into formation now, and I think that's really important. There is an aspect of custodianship at this early stage where we seek to curate the composition of the community that we're trying to create here, to get the right balance of families, singles, elders, and children.